Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I am going to read to you again today. I want to congratulate you all first for making it through another week of distance learning. You're doing amazing, and I'm so very proud of you. All right. Today's book, we're continuing with our theme on Maine and books from authors in Maine or about Maine. And this is The Circus Ship by Chris van Dusen. Here we go. Big book. 5 miles off the coast of Maine was a slightly overdue circus ship was streaming south in the fog as thick as stew. It is in the thick fog. On board, there were 15 animals who traveled to and fro. The next day, it was Boston for another circus show. The captain, Mr. Carrington, was honest and sincere. He thought they should drop the hook and wait for things to clear. But Mr. Payne, the circus boss, was terribly demanding. He stomped up to the helm where the Captain Carrington was standing and screamed, "Don't stop! Keep going! I've got a show to do. Just get me down to Boston town tomorrow, sir, by 2. Then came a crash, an awful bash. Things flew into the air. The ship had smashed into a ledge that no one knew was there. Big old crash. Look at all the animals flying. The shattered ship began to tip, then sank without a sound. The splashing and thrashing animals swam round and round. The captain said to Mr. Payne, "Pray tell, what shall we do? We can't just leave them here to drown. We've got to save them too." "The animals?" yelled Mr. Payne. "Why, sir, what, are you daft? It's me that you should rescue. Pull me up into the raft. Now ferry me to safety, sir, before I die of cold." "Don't question me," barked Mr. Payne. "Just do as you're told." Through the chilly water, all night long, the animals swam on until they reached an island beach just before the dawn. They pulled themselves up on the shore and bedraggled cold and beat, then staggered to the village on weary, wobbly feet. The people in the neighborhood had just begun to rise. When they saw those animals, they had to rub their eyes. They thought they saw an elephant, but wait, how could that be? And what's that little monkey doing in the cherry tree? Soon the animals were everywhere and into everything. There's an ostrich in the outhouse. There's a hippo in the spring. There's a tiger in the tulips. There's a lion on the lawn. There's a python in the pantry. It went on and on. Mr. Hood was stacking wood when he nearly jumped a mile when he found an alligator sleeping on his pile. And Mrs. Dotty Daly, who grew daisies by the bunch, discovered that a zebra had been eating them for lunch. And Mrs. Fanny Feeney found, according to the rumors, the silly little circus monkey swinging in her bloomers. Yeah. But everything changed quickly, like the turning of the tide, the night the Abbott's shed caught fire, and Emma Rose was inside. From high above the Abbott's farm, the tiger saw the shed. The sight of the smoke and fire triggered something in his head. He jumped through the flames 1,000 times back in his circus days. So he ran past all the people and he leapt into the blaze. Brave tiger. Then everybody panicked. Help, help, what can we do? From the raging fire, something burst into view. It was the most amazing sight, and everybody froze when they saw the tiger saving Emma Rose. The tiger's risky rescue changed everybody's mind. The animals weren't bothersome. The animals were kind. And so they lived together. Side by side, they got along. It didn't seem like anything possibly could go wrong. I'd like to have a picnic with a tiger. Then Little Red, the messenger, came running with the word. Apparently a circus ship had sunk from what he'd heard. The animals are from that boat. They swam in from the bay. The greedy owner wants them back. He'll be here any day. So the people called a meeting, and they quickly hatched a plan. No animals that came ashore would sail off with that man. The next day, at the crack of dawn, a ship was at the pier, and up the lane marched Mr. Payne, whose voice was loud and clear. I am the circus owner. My ship sank in the murk. I've come to find my animals and put them back to work. He hiked until he came into town in the center of the town. His red face, he scratched his head. He stood there with a frown. Mr. Payne looked high and low, but still he couldn't see 15 circus animals of his imaginary. You see any of them? They're all hiding. He ran around the alleyways. He searched the village square. He even checked a chicken coop. His animals weren't there. Mr. Payne was tuckered out. His heavy chest was heaving. But then Little Red stepped up and said, I think your boat is leaving. He ran off in a fit of rage. His ship was leaving sight. So he jumped into a rowboat and he rowed with all his might. How angry he is. And from that day, they liked to say their lives were free of pain. It was a happy, peaceful place upon that isle in Maine. The end. And this is actually based on a real story, guys. On October 25th in 1863, the Royal Tar, a side-wheel steamer, was sailing from St. John, New Brunswick to Portland, Maine. And on board were 103 passengers and a complete circus, including an elephant, 2 lions, a tiger, a leopard, 6 horses, 2 camels, a canoe, 2 pelicans, and a collection of exotic serpents and birds, as well as a full band. And then, fortunately, with miscommunications, the boiler overheated and the ship went up in flames. And at panic and chaos, the animals leapt from the vessel, and people saved most of their lives. But they believe most of the animals didn't make it. But there was rumors that an elephant survived by swimming to Brimstone Island in Maine. And that they later on found bones there of a large animal, so they think it did too. And on Crotch Island off Stonington, people reported seeing snakes for many years that weren't native. So it actually is kind of based on a true story. It's not really how it happened, but it's kind of based on the true story. All right, guys. I hope you have a great weekend. I think I'm going to read an extra book for you today that I found in my collection of books. So you may have 2 today, and I think yesterday's might have just posted, so you'll have a lot of books for the weekend. Bye, guys.